from Abuja.
Hello, thank you for being a part of our show. We appreciate you. I'm Magnus Kpakol, and this is Magnus Kpakol GVA. As always, it's all about how we can raise the level of living. That's what it's all about. In view today, with all the deconstruction going on, in the plethora of new ideas and counter views on how Nigeria can be best federated, it appears it is time to reconstruct Nigeria. How can we do this successfully? That is, to achieve the interest of all the people of the country. To examine this, we have with us Senator Bello Mohammed Tukra and Dr. Mutiola Olashupo. Senator Bello served in the 7th Senate of the National Assembly, where he represented Adamawa Central. Dr. Olashupo teaches politics and international relations at the University of Abuja. But before that, in our hidden economics, we see what it takes to build a nation. Now, up next in our quick view, we look at countries with active separatist groups. Separatist organizations and activities within the country involve members of a group of people whose collective goal is to establish their own separate government, if they are not already trying to do so. A separatist movement is the advocacy of a state of cultural, ethnic, tribal, religious, racial, or most often political separation from a larger group. Most commonly, separatists embark on an effort to become independent of the country or group to which they belong on the grounds of political and economic injustice. In this connection, which of the following European countries does not have an active separatist group? Denmark, France, Portugal, and Spain. In Africa, which of the following countries does not have an active separatist group? Angola, Liberia, Mali, and Nigeria. Stay with us for our answers coming up shortly. Still in view, reconstructing Nigeria. But up next in our hidden economics, to build a country or organization.
I say, you know easy, yeah. Oh, oh. To the sing and the dance and the people they rejoice, yeah. Oh, oh. My brother, my sister, don't be today. Oh, oh. If you good to a party, you make with the tango, yeah. Baba God, now your hand working, yeah. Don't be like, I say no be lie, yeah. Don't be everybody. Why sleep for night to wake up, see the light, yeah. See the future is bright, yeah. I need to enter for I, yeah. Make you do your best, yeah. Papa God go handle the rest, yeah. Even if you don't get money, yeah. They jolly, they shake body.
The great Nigerian brothers duo, P-Square, in one of their many hit songs, It No Easy. You can say that again. Nothing good comes easy. However, with knowledge, wisdom, perseverance, and grit, you can do it. In the song It No Easy, P-Square talks about how you should never give up, but keep trying, and your day will come by the grace of God. According to Scott Adams' blog, one of the magical things about economics is that you can create an economic asset out of nothing by just using persuasion. For example, if you persuade people to be more optimistic about the economy, people invest more money, buy more products, create more jobs, and generally manifest the better economy from their own expectations. The blog goes on to say that the magic of creating wealth from nothing but persuasion is one of the reasons President Trump is different from other presidents. He knows how to do this particular brand of economic magic. For governments or leaders trying to build a young nation or organization, you have to be persuasive. You must create for your people a dream for them to experience. You must show them why a strong and united nation or thriving organization is good for them, individually or collectively. Most people are persuaded to do something when they see how they personally benefit from it. As if to negate this logic, most people often cite the famous quote of John F. Kennedy when he said, "To ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." But note that even in this, President Kennedy wanted you to take delight in what you can do for your country. Imagine the joy, prestige, and honor that you get from everyone knowing that you did this for your country. You want people to know that you did this great thing that wasn't easy to do. Economics is about making choices and evaluating the costs and benefits of the choices. You have high productivity if with little effort you achieve that which was difficult to achieve. Big output from little effort equals high productivity. It's not easy, but you too can do it. Our hidden economics for you.
Even if you don't get money, they jolly, they shake body. Cause the way you vex to complain, if you know be God way. That's some baby dead body. Nobody be no baby. And when you fall, you go stand up again. You try them again and again, cause you know easy, yeah. So they sing and they dance and the people they rejoice, yeah. My brother, my sister, love you today.
Before we start our discussion, here are our quick view answers. Portugal is the European country listed here that does not have an active separatist group. In Africa, Liberia is the country that does not have an active separatist group. For comments, adverts, and sponsorship, please see our information displayed on the screen. So let us look at the issue of restructuring, which I think we should consider as reconstruction. The word restructuring appears to scare some people, but I believe for no reason. Reconstruction is in a way a process of putting something such as a country back into a good condition. So people may well like to look into reconstruction. In that way, how do we reconstruct Nigeria? And so we have with us Senator Bello Mohammed Tukur and Dr. Mutiola Olasupo. Senator Bello served in the 7th Senate of the National Assembly, where he represented Adamawa Central, after serving as Deputy Governor of the state. Dr. Olasupo teaches politics and international relations at the University of Abuja. Please join us in our discussion with Senator Tukur and Dr. Olasupo. Okay, Senator Tukur, we're happy to have you on our show once again. Dr. Olasupo, we welcome you to our show. Magnus, Kpakol, GVA.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. Well, today, gentlemen, we know what's going on in the country. We want to look at the happenings in the country. People are talking about restructuring. I want to call it reconstruction. But basically, I want to just put it to you guys. The way you see Nigeria today, as we are doing, when we compare ourselves with, say, South Korea, with, say, Malaysia, Taiwan, Singapore, I'm not talking about the United States or the United Kingdom. When we compare ourselves with these kinds of countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, South Korea, where we were said to have been at par in the 60s and 70s, how do you see us today? Are we doing well when we look at ourselves politically and economically? Are we doing well? Senator, I want to put it to you first. If you can react to that, just to tell us how you feel we are doing as a country today since independence.
Well, thank you very much, Prof. I think when you look at Nigeria today and you begin to compare it with those countries you mentioned, definitely we are lagging behind them. But it does not mean that we didn't do well at all. We did well, but definitely there are things that we did not do right. And probably the only reason why I said we are lagging behind is because those countries you talked about, they are not talking about restructuring today. They are not talking about reconstruction. Those countries have gone beyond that. They are not talking about my region, my state, my community, my local. I don't think that's what they are focusing. They are focusing about development, politically and economically, for their people. They are living well. They are competing well with the rest of the world. So I think by and large, there are things that definitely that we did not do right. Probably those are the things that we need to change. And I think maybe the change mantra will take care of those things.
Professor, the senator has just said it, that maybe we need some things. Excuse me. The senator has just said that maybe we need some things to happen. That obviously we are not doing as well as we would have liked to do. I mean, he said we're doing okay, but we could do better. So, Professor, what do you think? How do you think we are doing vis-a-vis what we should be doing?
Thank you very much.
Or how we should be doing?
It is actually tragically ironic to realize that Nigeria is not doing well at all. It's not even about lagging behind. It's about comparison. When we engage ourselves in the comparative development, administrative system, economic system, even political systems, when we are compared with all these countries, it is crystal clear that we are not doing well at all. If you look at Nigeria at independence and you look at all these countries, I always like to take Nigeria and Malaysia as a good examples of stand of underdevelopment and a developed society. At independence, Malaysia attained its independence in 1957, while Nigeria attained independence in 1960. And we were both colonized by the same Britain. So the two countries were considered to be historical peers. Now, at independence, Nigeria was ahead of Malaysia. We had all what it takes to develop fastly, to attain all our developmental trajectories. But what happened? Because of our lackadaisical attitude and poor leadership, the leaders without visions, visionless leaders, we couldn't move an inch. Within a decade, Malaysia overtook Nigeria. Now, if you are to talk about comparing Malaysia with Nigeria, just like you are comparing death with sleep, the difference is crystal clear. So we have a lot of issues. that are creating political imbroglio and economic quagmire in our society today. Most of the elusive goals that no other country is talking about it, particularly those that were considered to be the peers of Nigeria, they are no longer talking about it. We are still battling with those goals in Nigeria now. That's why don't be surprised by the time the 2019 presidential campaign is rolled out, you see that most of the issues that we have been using as a campaign strategy since 60s is what they're going to tell us again. That when they get there, they will fight against corruption, they will make sure that all the infrastructure facilities are being provided, all sorts of things, power supply, potable water, and so on and so forth. Yeah. These are the issues. So we cannot do well if all these things have not been taken care of.
Yes. Okay, Senator, because you just hit on some important things now, and then we have a politician here, so who has been in the business for some time. So, before we came on, I was just mentioning to you that there are three things that I see that have impacted Nigeria. First of all, the colonialists, our colonial masters, framed a country that I'm not sure that they understood very well at independence. Then we had a long period of military rule that the people didn't just stop at they didn't just stop the hemorrhaging that took place, that they came to correct, one would say, but they went to rule and began to administer treatment, that is the military, for a very long period of time. Then we had the Biafra Civil War. So we got these three major things in my mind that have impacted us. Are there other things that are contributory to the reason why we are lagging behind the way the Prof was just alluding to?
Prof, thank you very much. There's still basis for comparisons.
Okay.
With these countries, these other nations. Doctor have said it. At independence, at one point, Nigeria was even ahead of Malaysia. Geographically, we even occupy the same latitude. We share so many things in common. But you see, the problem, I still repeat, is definitely there is a time when we missed what those things that we were doing right. The three things you talked about. The colonial masters didn't look at us as a southwesterner or as a southeasterner or a northerner when they were administering us in those days. The center was not strong at that time as it is today. Over time, when we gained independence, things changed. Even at independence, the regions were still stronger than the center. But what happened? You see, Nigeria is an interesting country. Those people who are clamoring for restructuring and or what you like to call it, reconstruction, yes. They are still talking about one thing, is to gain more control of resources.
So that is the main thing.
That is the main thing. That is the main thing, as far as I'm concerned.
What resources?
They are natural resources. The revenues that will accrue to states or regions.
Okay.
Yeah, the irony of it, at that time, the regions and the provinces control much more revenue, as much as 50%, and then they contribute the rest to the center. And today is the reverse. And ironically, this happened after the Civil War, or before the Civil War. When there was mutiny, it was the Southeasterner that actually started a unitary government in Nigeria that concentrated all resources at the center.
For some time now, Nigerians have been talking much about restructuring. All this talking is a process of deconstruction, that is, dissecting and searching to see how the parts fit together. In the end, what seems clear is that there are people who believe that some sections of the country are politically and economically marginalized. But let us look at something here. Is restructuring really the right word to use? The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines restructuring as a process to change the basic organization or structure of something. Well, maybe that's why some people are apprehensive. Suppose you are benefiting from the existing structure, why would you want to change it? The word restructuring, as understood by some, does not suggest any good that is coming to them. Now, how about reconstruction? The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines reconstruction as the process of putting something, such as a country, back into a good condition. Wow, this sounds good to me. So I might be able to persuade the groups or persons that are wary of restructuring not to fear reconstruction, because it is going to make things even better for him and for everyone. So what and why are we reconstructing? Well, it seems plausible to me that three damaging things may have happened from the time of independence. One is this: our colonial masters, the British, may not have properly understood what they constructed into an independent country in 1960. Two is this: the military, with all due respect, may have found out after seizing power that they may not have been the best we had at repairing any defects we may have observed and experienced after independence. Yes, they may have stopped a hemorrhage, but they obviously didn't have the skills to continue treatment for as long as they did. So more immediate and long-term damage may have been additionally done during the very long period of military rule. Third is this: the general effects of the Biafra Civil War may not have been properly sorted out. So, given these three potential sources of damage, we probably need reconstruction. We now have a better understanding of who we are as a people and what remedies are available for a more united Nigeria. We need reconstruction, not restructuring. I'm Magnus Kpakol, and that's my view.
Magnus,